Okay, so you've baked these amazing looking cupcakes, right? You pull them out, and then, uh-oh, half the cake is stuck inside the mold, still clinging to the paper liner. So frustrating.
Oh, I know that feeling. Or, you bake a cake and it comes out, well, a bit lopsided,
Oh,
uneven.
exactly. It happens. And honestly, sometimes the reason comes down to something pretty basic. Your baking mold, metal, silicone. It actually matters quite a bit.
It really does. We've been digging into this great piece from Baker Supply, and we published it just recently, May 21st, 2025. It's all about comparing bakeware, really focusing on silicone versus metal.
Yeah, it's a good one. So our plan today is to sort of unpack that. We want to walk you through the pros and cons of both based on what they found.
hmm The goal is really to help you figure out which type might be better for your kitchen, whether you bake, every weekend or just starting out.
Right. So let's jump in. Silicone molds. They're everywhere now, aren't they? Super popular.
They really are. And you can see why. The bakersupply.in article points out convenience is a big one, like the non-stick factor.
Oh, that's the dream. Just popping muffins or little cakes right out. No sticking, no greasing beforehand.
Exactly. Saves time, saves hassle.
And they're so flexible. The article mentions storage. You can literally fold them or roll them up. Great if you're tight on space.
Totally. And that flexibility means you can get these really fun, intricate shapes, too.
Right.
The article mentions using them for, like, fancy chocolates, detailed cupcakes, even fondant work, things that'd be much harder with rigid metal.
Yeah, pulling off those really delicate designs. Plus, they handle a huge temperature range, right? Oven, microwave, freezer, even the dishwasher.
hmm Very versatile. And something maybe not everyone thinks about, but important, especially if you live somewhere humid, they don't rust. Ever.
That's huge plus. Metal pans, you always have that worry in the back of your mind.
You do.
But, okay, can't all be perfect.
Yeah.
What are the sort of downsides to silicone? The article mentions heat conduction.
Right. So metal heats up fast and distributes that heat very evenly.
Yeah.
Silicone, well, it doesn't transfer heat quite as well. It's more of an insulator.
Which can mean...
It can sometimes mean slightly uneven baking. Like the edges might not brown as much, or things might take a little longer to bake through compared to metal.
Okay, that makes sense. And they're kind of floppy, aren't they?
Definitely. The article stresses this. You absolutely need to put them on a solid baking sheet before you fill them.
Ah, good tip. Otherwise, you're looking at batter all over the floor trying to get it into the oven.
Precisely. Been there. And one other thing they mentioned, which I've noticed too, sometimes they can hold on to smells or get a bit stained, especially from oily batters.
Yeah, like a lingering scent of the last thing you baked.
It doesn't always happen, but it's something to be aware of. Now, bakersupply.in did list a few examples of their silicone stuff.
Right, like sets of silicone cupcake molds.
A set of 6, and a silicone loaf mold, perfect for banana bread, things that tend to stick badly.
Oh, yeah, banana bread is notorious.
And flexible chocolate bar molds, too. Hearts, stars, squares, really shows off that shaping advantage.
Okay, cool. So that gives us a good feel for silicone. Let's switch over to the old classic, metal molds. What's the big draw there?
Heat. Plain and simple. As the article highlights, metal's fantastic heat conduction is its #1 strength.
So that means faster baking and more even results.
Generally, yes. You get that lovely, even browning, think golden cake edges, crispy cookie bottoms. Metal really delivers on that front.
Yeah, that perfect crispness you want for certain things. And they last forever, right, if you look after them.
Absolutely. Durability is a huge plus. A good metal pan is an investment. They're real kitchen workhorses, as the article points out.
Yeah.
Especially good for things needing a crust, pies, cookies, certain breads.
Gotcha. But the downsides, we mentioned rust already.
Yes, that's the big one, especially, again, in humid places. You have to dry them thoroughly, immediately. No leaving them in the sink.
Right. A bit more high maintenance in that sense. And sticking is more of an issue too, isn't it?
It definitely can be. Greasing and flouring or using parchment paper liners is pretty much standard procedure with most metal pans.
Yeah, you don't often get that easy release like with silicone. Sometimes it's still a fight, even with the prep.
True. And they are heavier. Just physically carrying a stack of metal pans versus silicone, there's a difference.
Okay. And Baker Supply mentioned some top metal picks too.
They did. Things like a standard 8-inch round aluminum cake tin, a baker's essential,
Vintage staple, yeah.
a non-stick 12-cup muffin tray, great for batches, and a 9-inch rectangular loaf pan. Again, very classic shapes.
Makes sense. So the article actually put together a little table, kind of a cheat sheet for when to use which.
Yeah, it's super helpful. For cupcakes, they basically say, It depends. Silicone gives you that super easy release.
No broken cupcakes.
Right. But metal might give you slightly better browning on the sides. So kind of your preference.
Interesting. What about chocolates?
Oh, silicone, hands down.
Yeah.
All those detailed shapes and easy popping out.
Makes sense. Sponge cakes?
Metal tends to be better there. That even heat is really key for getting a good, consistent rise on a delicate sponge.
Okay. Banana bread?
Silicone gets the nod, mainly for the nonstick. Less faffing about with lining the pan.
Less fiddly, yeah. And cookies or crusts?
Metal. Definitely metal if you want those crisp edges and that really nice golden finish. The direct heat transfer helps a lot.
That table's a great summary. Okay, quick word on cleaning then. Any specific tips from the article?
Yeah, for silicone, just warm, soapy water. But they say avoid sharp knives or really harsh scrubbing pads. You don't want to damage the surface.
Right, treat it gently. And metal, we know about drying.
Yep. Hand wash, dry immediately, store it somewhere dry. And using liners like parchment cups or strips not only helps with non-stick, but also protects the pan itself.
Good advice. Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. The final verdict. Who should use what?
Well, the article gives some pretty clear guidelines. For beginners, or maybe just regular home bakers, silicone is often a great starting point. It's forgiving, easy release, fun shapes.
Takes away some of the stress, maybe. Boosts confidence.
Exactly. Less sticking frustration. Now, for professional bakers, or maybe very serious amateurs, metal is often preferred.
Why is that? Precision.
Yeah, precision, speed, that reliable, even browning. When you're doing large quantities, consistency is key, and metal delivers that very well.
Okay. But what if you're just baking for fun, like with kids?
Silicone, definitely. The colors, the shapes, the easy handling, it's just more playful.
Makes sense. And interestingly, what about someone running a small baking business?
The article suggests many actually use both. They might use metal pans for their main cakes, for structure and reliable baking.
Right.
But then use silicone for maybe smaller things like chocolates or individual portions where easy unmolding for packaging is important.
Ah, so it's not always an either choice, even for the pros.
Not at all. Often, a mix is the most practical solution.
So really the main takeaway here is there's no single best mold, is there?
Nope. It really boils down to what you bake most often and what results you're looking for. Are you all about intricate shapes and zero sticking? Maybe lean silicone? Need perfect browning and crisp edges? Metal might be your friend.
Yeah, think about your own baking habits and what frustrates you or what you really want to achieve.
Exactly.
So here's something to mull over. Now that you're thinking about how molds affect things, what else in your kitchen kit, maybe your oven, your tools, might be influencing your bakes in ways you haven't considered?
Ooh, good question. Or, looking forward with all the new materials popping up in kitchens, what's next? Could there be some super material for baking molds on the horizon?
Food for thought. And of course, if you do want to check out some options, the source we looked at, bakersupply.in, they obviously sell both types of molds.
Worth a browse if you're feeling inspired.